Have you ever wondered what truly happens in the final minutes of life? Not in theory, not in vague ideas, but in raw, undeniable reality? As your heart slows, as your breath weakens, as your world fades, what do you see? What do you feel? Is there pain? Is there peace? Or is there something far greater, something beyond anything you've ever imagined? What if I told you that those last moments are not what you think? What if the seconds before death held a secret, hidden in plain sight, a truth so profound it could shake the very foundation of your beliefs? You've heard stories, bright lights, voices calling, an overwhelming sense of clarity. But what if the truth goes deeper? What if in those last fleeting breaths, you were given a final choice? A revelation? A glimpse into what comes next? This is not just another discussion about life and death. This is an exploration, a journey into the unknown, guided by one source, the Bible. The most ancient, most powerful book ever written, holding answers that science cannot explain. Today, we uncover the mysteries locked within its pages, revealing what truly awaits in those final moments before you cross the threshold. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear could change everything. This is more than a video. This is a wake-up call. If you've ever lost someone, if you've ever feared death, if you've ever lain awake at night, staring at the ceiling wondering what happens next, then this is for you. By the end of this journey, you will see death through new eyes. You will understand what the Bible says about that last heartbeat, that last breath. You will discover why some pass in terror, while others slip into peace, embraced by something divine. And you will learn why what you do now determines everything about what happens then. So take a deep breath, open your mind, because in the next few minutes, we are diving into the most shocking, the most powerful truth about the last moments before death. What happens in those final seconds? Is it the end or just the beginning? Stay with me. What you are about to hear could transform the way you live, the way you die, and the way you believe. Imagine your body weakens. Your breath slows. The world around you begins to fade. In these final moments, what do you see? What do you feel? Does pain consume you? Or does peace embrace you? Are you alone? Or is there someone, something, waiting for you on the other side? Many believe that death is a void, a black nothingness, a silent end. But what if that's not true? What if, in those last moments, something incredible happens? Something unexpected? Something beyond comprehension? Science can measure brain activity, track heart rates, explain the biological shutdown, but it cannot explain this. It cannot explain why, at the moment of death, so many experience something far greater than anything this world has to offer. What if I told you that in those last breaths, you might have more clarity than ever before? That in the very seconds before you leave this world, your mind, your soul, your very being could be awakened in a way you never imagined? Let's turn to the one source that holds the answers, the Bible. The most powerful, most timeless book ever written. In Luke 23 verse 46, we witness something extraordinary. Jesus, in excruciating agony, moments from death, does something unexpected. He speaks, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." Think about this. He was not lost in delirium, not overcome by fear. He was fully aware, fully conscious, fully present. At his weakest physical moment, his spirit remained strong, his mind clear, his soul connected. Now consider this. Could the same be true for us? Could it be that in those final moments, we are not fading into nothingness, but instead waking up? Could it be that, just as Jesus remained aware, so too might we? Thousands of near-death experiences suggest this possibility. Stories of people, moments from death, speaking of clarity, of peace, of seeing beyond this world. They describe feeling more alive than ever before, their senses sharpened, their thoughts clearer. Some speak of seeing loved ones, others of a great light, but nearly all describe one thing, an overwhelming awareness. And here's where it gets even more profound. In those last moments, could we experience a spiritual reality more real than anything we've ever known? Could it be that as the body fades, the soul awakens? Jesus' final words reveal something astonishing. He did not cling to life in fear. He surrendered, not to death, but to God. Into your hands, I commit my spirit. What if, at the end, this is the ultimate moment of decision? What if in those last seconds, we are given a choice? A choice between fear and faith, between darkness and light, between the unknown and the undeniable presence of God. This changes everything. If death is not an end, but an awakening, then how should we live now? If the final moments hold such clarity, shouldn't we prepare our hearts before that moment arrives? Because one day, that moment will come. And the question is, when it does, will you be ready? Your vision dims. Your senses grow weak. The world you've known begins to slip away. But in that moment, when everything familiar disappears, something else happens. Something bigger. Something unseen. Is death truly the end? Or is it the beginning of something far greater? You've heard the stories, people seeing a light, feeling a presence, experiencing a peace so overwhelming it defies explanation. Could it be that when the physical world fades, the spiritual world comes alive? Could it be that, as your body weakens, your soul awakens? The Bible gives us clues, whispers of a reality beyond this one. In Ecclesiastes 12, it describes the process of death in poetic yet chilling words. Before the sun and the light and the moon and the stars grow dark and the clouds return after the rain. What does this mean? It suggests that as we die, our senses dim, our physical world fades, but something else begins to take shape. The question is, what comes next? Many near-death accounts speak of a moment when the body shuts down, but the mind, the soul, the awareness remains. People describe floating above their bodies, watching as doctors fight to bring them back. Some hear voices, some feel warmth, others see a great light. Could it be that when the eyes of the body close, the eyes of the soul finally open? In 2 Corinthians 5 verse 8, the Apostle Paul says, "We prefer to be absent from the body and present with the Lord." This verse suggests something astonishing, a transition, a moment when we leave behind what is temporary and step into what is eternal. What if, in those last moments, we don't slip into darkness, but into something more real than anything we've ever known? Science can measure brain waves, heartbeats, oxygen levels, but it cannot measure the soul. It cannot explain why so many people, in their final breaths, speak of peace, of comfort, of seeing something or someone waiting for them. The Apostle Paul speaks of this again in Philippians 1 verse 21. "For to me, to live is Christ, and to die is gain." What does this mean? It means that for those who believe, death is not a loss. It is a victory, a homecoming, a final release from pain, from suffering, from everything that has ever weighed us down. But here's the real question. If death is a doorway, where does it lead? If there is light, does it welcome everyone? Or what does it depend on how we've lived? Jesus spoke of two paths, two destinies. In Luke 16, he tells the story of the rich man and Lazarus. One man enters peace, the other torment. Could it be that in those final moments, we come face to face with the choices we've made? That, as our life flashes before our eyes, we are given a final revelation? And if that is true, if the moment of death is a moment of awakening, what does that mean for you? Because one day, that moment will come. And when it does, will you be stepping into peace or into regret? Your heart beats its last. Your body releases its grip on life. But something stirs. Something awakens. At that moment, when you are closer to eternity than ever before, what do you see? What do you feel? Is it peace? Or is it regret? Many believe that death comes like a thief, sudden and indifferent, leaving no room for choice, no time for reflection. But what if that's not true? What if in those final moments, something extraordinary happens? What if you were given a chance, a moment of clarity, a final opportunity to make peace with God? The Bible reveals a powerful truth. even the last breath, there is mercy. In Job 33 verses 22 to 28, we find a chilling yet hopeful passage. His soul draws near the grave, his life to those who bring death. But if there is an angel, a mediator, one among 1,000, to declare to a man what is right, then God is gracious to him and says, "Deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom." What does this mean? It means that in those final, fading moments, God may still reach for you. He may give you one last chance to turn toward him, to be redeemed, to be rescued from what lies beyond. Imagine it. You're standing at the edge, looking into the unknown. Then, a voice calls your name, a pull deep within your soul, a final plea. Choose life, choose truth, choose me. Could it be that the very last thing you experience before death is not an ending, but a decision? If you doubt that redemption is possible in the last moments, consider the thief on the cross. A man condemned, a man unworthy, a man moments from death. Yet, in his final breath, he turns to Jesus and says, "Remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus, in his infinite mercy, replies, "Truly, I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." Luke 23 verse 43. A lifetime of sin, a heart full of regret, yet in one moment forgiven. Could the same be true for you? Could it be that no matter how lost you've been, no matter how many mistakes you've made, even in your final breath, mercy still waits? Many who have faced death in return speak of a life review, a moment where they saw every decision they had ever made, every word spoken, every wound given or received, not just as memories, but as realities, as if they were standing in the presence of absolute truth. Could this be the judgment the Bible speaks of? Hebrews 9 verse 27 tells us, "It is appointed for man to die once, and after that comes judgment." What if, in those final moments, you see your life as it truly was? Every choice, every missed opportunity, every moment you turn away from God, would you be ready for what comes next? Some believe that time erases all things, that in the end, everything simply fades away. But Jesus tells a different story. In the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, Luke 16, a man who lived selfishly finds himself in torment after death, crying out for relief. But the response he receives is chilling. There is a great chasm set between us, and none may cross. What does this mean? It means that death is not the end of existence. It is the end of choice. Once the final breath is taken, there is no going back. No second chances. No time left to make things right. That moment is coming. For me. For you. For every soul that walks this earth. And the question is, will you be ready when it does? Some say death is peaceful, a slow fading into nothingness. But others, those who have glimpsed beyond, tell a different story. They speak of two paths, two destinations. One, a place of peace beyond words. The other, a darkness filled with regret. Which one will you step into? For those who walk with God, death is not a terror. It is a transition, a homecoming, a moment when everything painful fades and what remains is glory. David knew this truth. In Psalm 23 verse 4, he declared, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." No fear, no doubt, only confidence. Can you imagine that? Can you picture yourself in your final moments, not trembling, not pleading for one more day, but smiling? Eyes lifted, heart steady, stepping into eternity with peace. It is possible. It is promised, but only for those who know him. But what about those who don't? What about the ones who spent a lifetime running, doubting, rejecting? The Bible warns of another kind of death, a death without peace, a death where fear grips the soul, where regret crashes down like a wave, too late to be undone. In Luke 16, Jesus tells the story of a rich man who lived in luxury but ignored the things of God. When death came, he found himself in torment, crying out for relief. But none came. Between us and you, A great chasm has been fixed, so that those who want to cross over from here to you cannot, nor can anyone cross from there to us. The door had closed. The choice had been made. And now, there was no escape. Many live as if death is far away, as if there will always be tomorrow. Tomorrow to believe. Tomorrow to repent. Tomorrow to make things right. But the truth is, none of us know the hour. None of us know when the last heartbeat will come. James 4 verse 14 says, "What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes." A mist, a breath, here then gone. What if today was the last sunrise you would ever see? What if tonight, as you lay your head down, your soul was called into eternity? Would you be ready? Picture yourself in that moment. The world fading, the body failing, the soul rising. What will be your last thought? Will it be, "I have lived well, I have no fear"? Or will it be, "God, give me one more chance"? Because one day your time will come. And when it does, the only thing that will matter is this: did you know him? Some say death is just sleep, a quiet ending. Others say it is a terrifying unknown. But the Bible tells a different story. It speaks of a destination, two roads, two eternities. It may seem shocking, even unsettling, but Ecclesiastes 7 verse 1 tells us something unexpected. The day of death is better than the day of birth. How could that be? How could the moment we leave this world be better than the moment we enter it? Because death is not the end. It is a doorway. And what's on the other side depends on one thing: what you chose to do with this life. For those who know Christ, that moment is not one of loss, but of gain. In Philippians 1 verse 21, Paul declares, "For to me, to live is Christ, and to die is gain." Imagine that. Instead of fear, excitement. Instead of regret, anticipation. Instead of sorrow, joy. But what about those who don't know him? What about those who spent their years chasing wealth, pleasure, power, but never sought the one who gave them breath? For them, the moment before death is not peace. It is dread. Many near-death experiences describe an overwhelming darkness, a sense of being pulled away, an emptiness that cannot be described. Some call out, trying to return, but they cannot. The Bible warns of this. In 2 Thessalonians 1 verse 9, it says, "They will be punished with everlasting destruction and shut out from the presence of the Lord." Can you imagine a place where God is not? No light, no love, no hope, only regret. In your final moments, what will you think about? Will you remember the money you made? The houses you built? The vacations, the promotions, the endless striving? Or will you think about something deeper? Will you wonder, did I love enough? Did I forgive enough? Did I seek the truth while I had time? These are the thoughts that consume the dying. Because, in the end, only one thing matters. Where's my soul going next? Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. A choice to prepare your soul before it is too late. Galatians 6 verses 7 to 8 warns us, "Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows." What are you sowing? Are you building a life that will last beyond the grave? Or are you chasing things that will crumble to dust? Because one day, your time will come. And in that final breath, nothing will matter more than this. Did I choose him? One day, the clock will stop. The breath will fade. The heartbeat will silence. And in that moment, only one thing will matter. Did you live in a way that prepared you for eternity? Did you seek the truth while you had time? Did you choose him? Because when that final second comes, there will be no rewinds, no second chances. The choices you make now will follow you forever. The regrets, the missed opportunities, the moments you turned away from God, they will all be there, unchangeable. But there is still hope. Right now, while you have breath, you can choose a different path. You can surrender, you can prepare, you can step into the peace of knowing where you are going when your time comes. Psalm 23 verse 4 promises, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." This peace, this assurance, it can be yours. But you must decide now. If this message has spoken to your soul, don't ignore it. Don't wait for another day that may never come. Right now, In this moment, turn to Him. Drop to your knees. Cry out to your Savior. Leave your prayer in the comments below. Let the world see your faith. Let God hear your heart. Say His name. Ask for His mercy. Because when your final moment arrives, only one thing will matter. Did you choose eternity with Him,